I'm moving. Oh no. Nobody. Jesus, man. Fucking YouTube. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. This is like just weird, man. It's weird. So weird. We're not gonna do third time's a charm. Hold on, let me get Justin in here. I think it's just weird how I didn't have any problems with the other two. Well, I had kind of a problem with Man of Steel, but that was resolved pretty quickly. I don't know what's going on with this one. It's just it's such a weird it's such a weird thing, and I think it's just the content. I think it's just the content. Yeah, I think Twitch is going to be the way to go, but we're not going to do it tonight because I need to get that shit going. Okay, here we go. Sending to Justin. Yeah, I don't think we're not gonna continue tonight, but we're gonna talk. We're gonna do a little chatting about stuff. Yeah, we could probably get Justin to act the whole thing out. God, man. Fucking YouTube. I swear to God, YouTube. Pain in the ass. Pain in the ass. Let's see. Do I got everything? Yeah, background. Okay. But I think, I think it's just because the content involved. I don't know. And someone's like reporting us, maybe. That could be it. Boop. He's back, this time with a shirt on.
Sort of.
Yeah. Okay, so I was just telling everybody that, I think Twitch is going to have to be the way to go.
Just get Justin to act the rest of it out.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
Comfortable doing that.
Yeah, I don't think I want to see him dance.
That's not the part that makes me uncomfortable. I mean,
even though, look at me. Yeah, I wonder if it is that motherfucker.
Who's Hoskins?
Well, okay, so I'll give you a little backstory. There's like this guy, his last name was Hoskins. I think his first name was Josh, who, he comments on my stuff a lot, and he was always in the live chat when I do the vodka streams, and he's just like a ball buster, and I didn't mind it too much. Last Friday, not yesterday, but the previous Friday, he kind of hit a soft spot because I was like, what the fuck? Where he was all, dude, like, you didn't even talk about this. All you talk about is Cape shit and Snyderverse and how, the dead Snyderverse, and your name is Film Junkie, but you don't even talk about anything else. And I was like, hey, hold on a second, motherfucker. If you don't like the way I do things, then, I kind of went off on him a little bit. And then he like goes, dude, I was kidding. I was just trolling, man. I mean, look at me. I got the hyena from Birds of Prey as my avatar. I'm just kidding. So I was like, all right, cool. Okay. So I couldn't tell that you were kidding. I apologize. Maybe you just hit a soft spot. So then throughout the week, he commented on 3 of my videos using the same comment. He wanted me to talk about how Birds of Prey was like the #1 VOD or something like that. And then he goes, then he goes, wait a minute, you don't do other things besides like the dying Snyderverse. And then you have rage issues when I call you out on it on your stream. And I was like, what the fuck? I mean, literally copy and paste. He put it on like 3 videos. And I went, okay, this guy is going beyond trolling now. This guy is definitely he wasn't kidding. So then when he showed up in the live chat yesterday on my vodka stream, I didn't really acknowledge him too much. But then when my mom was in the live stream, he asked my mom, telling her, do you know that your son has rage issues and stuff like that? And then he put in like parentheses, I was just, he said something. I don't know what he said. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And everybody in the live chat was like, dude, what are you doing? You just crossed the line. You were like at his mom and told him that. And so I was like, all right, Hoskins, you're done. You're banned. Sorry, buddy. And so who knows? He could be like reporting it. You guys didn't watch. Yeah, we didn't watch it illegally. We weren't showing the our screens or anything.
And I was streaming it legally through the HBO app.
Yeah, I was streaming it legally. I have it purchased. I have it within my cloud or whatever the fuck, you know. So
I have it on the disc too, but my discs are all in storage right now. So
I have the movie. Like I can pull it up in my library at any time. So
I've given Zack Snyder plenty of money. It's fine.
What's that?
I said I've given Zack Snyder plenty of money. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's just because it's sensitive. It's a sensitive. I mean, even like the thumbnail. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull it just because like the thumbnail. I mean, who knows with YouTube nowadays? Like I said, I'm gonna look into the Twitch thing. I think I've been wanting to migrate over to Twitch when it comes to live stuff. I mean, I'll still, of course, do live stuff here, but I think that's like the biggest thing is it's just the sensitive material, maybe.
Well, look, it shows why people missed the point of this movie.
Yeah.
To answer Infinity and Beyond, yes, Florida schools today, they announced they're closing for the rest of the year. It shows why people missed the movie. America still has this very puritanical strain to it, where you talk about sex at all, and people automatically assume it's vile and it's gross, which is crazy because as I was saying about the movie is talking about treating sex flippantly, treating it like a drug, removing the psychological, the emotional aspect of it. So the movie actually has a very traditionally, quote unquote, conservative bent to it, but it gets censored for those reasons. And it's crazy that people don't look at the content of it because we have certain topics, and one of them in our culture is sex, that when you bring it up, people automatically just shut down and don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I know a lot of people think it might be copyright. It's not. I mean, the things I got is we're violating the community guidelines. Copyright's a whole different thing. When you have a YouTube channel, there's two different guidelines. There's copyright guidelines and there's community guidelines. Community guidelines is when they look at something that gets sent over to them or whatever. It's all, does it have hate speech, sex and violence? They're trying to protect the kiddies out there. So copyright is not the issue here, or else they would have said that. And usually when it comes to copyright, I mean, like I said, when I did the Man of Steel watch, like right after, like immediate, like probably about 10 minutes after I was done with the stream, I got that little ding and email. It said, and they didn't remove it. They didn't remove the video. They just said it can't be shown in most countries, and then blah, blah, blah. And then it got completely shut down, but it was still there. It was still there within my library. Anytime that we got turned off right here, it's gone, completely gone. So community guidelines is a whole different beast, which is actually it could be a worse beast. So I think if we're going to do this thing, we're going to have to do it on Twitch for sure.
Yeah. So. I think people probably, there might be somebody reporting it too. It might be that Hoskins guy. It might be other people. I think the video was probably being reported with how quickly it was happening. Because I don't think there's any way they could have an algorithm that you say certain words and they just get rid of it. It has to be somebody reporting it, I think. Yeah,
it could. I mean, it could be him or it could be anybody. It could be anybody else. I mean, geez, we all know that I can piss off some people. But
somebody in the chat just said you better be watching the extended cut. I'm really confused. I'm really confused in this world we live in where we're known Snyder Cut supporters and we want the director's vision, why anyone would even ask that question.
Yeah, I know. We kept on getting asked that. It's like, of course we're going to watch the extended cut.
He doesn't know how to do Twitch, Krypton.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to just jump right over there and just like go boom, 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 boom. I would actually want to, start my account and get it going. I know. I mean, he might not be. We just.
I have no idea. I don't even know who hosts is.
Yeah, we're just spitballing here. We're not saying that he's actually doing it. I'm just kind of going like, if someone's actually reporting, it's somebody that does not like me, And I'm just, when somebody brought up Hoskins, I just had to update Justin on what happened yesterday.
Yeah, I don't keep track of all this drama. Just like I've been seeing on Twitter today, because I just signed in, that there's drama within the Snyder Cut movie. I don't even know
Oh, yeah.
what's going on.
Okay, well, we could talk about that because I kind of want to. I would like to get your opinion about it. We could go right to that. What? It could be. Yeah, it could be Mr. Rollins. He doesn't like me either. No, but the drama in the Snyder, you know kind of what it's about. It's about that Andy Signar guy who wrote that article, and you know how like I think people were tagged you or the other day when like or is anybody going to go on his show to like debate him about the live stream or whatever? You didn't. I thought I saw you in some of those.
Yeah, I got tagged in that, but look. I made my comment when I tweeted about it, and I stand by my comment. I'm not even going to address the content of what that person said, because if I read something and it reads like it's written by something that's worse than any of my 10th grade students at a public school in Florida, that's not a great district, not a great county, then I'm not going to give them the time of day. There is something to be said for you prove your validity of your point of view. So why am I going to believe anything he says and believe he has a source and take his point of view seriously when he can't even write it in an intelligent manner? So when someone puts that up there, I know that all I'm going to do is walk into a situation where they're going to say stuff to me, and then they're going to think what they said is really smart, but it's actually going to be really stupid. And we're going to leave the situation where it's going to be them shouting me down the whole time, and they're going to leave feeling good about themselves, and I'm going to leave thinking, oh, wow, nothing was accomplished. So what's the point?
Yeah. By the way, yes, he is a teacher. That's why he moved to Florida. No, basically what happened with all that, it's actually very interesting because the article showed up on Wednesday, and I know you and I kind of talked about it, how we didn't like how it was written, you know. It was pretty poorly written, and I still stand by that, you know. When I shot a video about it, and I was not happy with my video because I brought up the fact that the guy got let go from Screen Junkies for sexual misconduct. I kind of brought up that notion. But of course, you know, I've always been one of those people that go like, no, you know, I don't like all the false shit. The Me Too stuff can get out of hand. And apparently it did with him. And it did. Like, it was proven, like the woman that put out the allegations, like it was all consensual, but she tried to play it off as it wasn't. And then she dropped the shit when he like showed all his messages. Like he still did foul play stuff because he was married and everything like that. But I brought it up. I mean, at first when I opened up my video, I brought it up in a funny way, you know, like the way that I do it, just to start the video with like a little bit of a razz. And I mean, he got pissed. He saw my video and he got pissed at me and was in my DMs, just pissed off. And I was like, huh?
That's the drama, or is there anything going on within the Snyder Cut movement?
Oh no, there is because see, like I'm just telling you my point of view of the whole thing, because I removed the video because I was like, yeah, that was stupid. Right. I shouldn't have posted the video.
Right, I know.
I even sat on it. Yeah. I tweeted that out. So then like Thursday, like Garza goes on and he talked and
Garza got his attention, right? Got it.
Yeah, he got all that. And then it's just, that's pretty much where it stands. I mean, like the stuff that, I was glad Garza went on there because he had, you know, the information to give Andy, and it was fine and dandy. Of course, you know, I wish he would actually say where he got some of that information. Anyways, so everything, when it comes to drama within the Snyder Cut movement, or, you know, whatever, the fandom, I think it's just that. It's just because him and Jody from, you know, Jody's Corner or whatever, have been like really approaching it. All of a sudden, they're just like talking about it, and that's the whole drama right now. And then, of course, the fact that Garza went on the show, of course, like the people that hate us, like Rollins and shit like that, they hate that. They hate the fact that that was the case, you know, because, of course, they hate Garza like big time.
None of that matters to me.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat asked what we're using for a platform. My school is using Microsoft Teams, not Google Classroom.
I heard about that. That's something new they created, right? Microsoft.
Yeah, I've never seen it before coming to the school, but it's essentially just another social networking platform where there's a feed you post in, and then you can have tabs with files, assignments, calendar, and then you can chat with people. So, I mean, it's fine. It works. But
yeah, I remember like because my last job, which I'm like helping them kind of just close, shut things down from what they pretty much shut down the office that I used to work at, which I knew was coming. That's why I got the hell out of there. But I was like, I'll help you guys out by closing things up. And they started using all the Microsoft stuff. And there was something called Microsoft. What was it called again? Microsoft
Teams.
Yeah. They started implementing that because they were going to have people work from home that were left. And I mean, where I work now, it's all Google. But it's pretty crazy. Like what's going? I mean, are you like doing anything teaching wise right now, or no?
I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't want anything on record that I was talking about it. But
Gotcha.
the district has, or the county rather, has certain policies and guidelines in place that I am following based upon what they say should be digital learning.
Yeah. See, everybody. Yeah, a lot of people are using Teams and Zoom and stuff like that. But yeah, I get you. Yeah, talking about it, and stuff like that. I get it.
Ryan Rivera has a really good question. Do you think Baby Doll's fantasy worlds are also inspired by the pop culture she was exposed to and interested in before the asylum? I don't know if you can say interested in. I think maybe you could argue exposed to because it's in the zeitgeist of, our culture, and she knows that would appeal to men. But I do think that as we were seeing from, the dragon on the lighter, the dragon picture in the background, the samurai knife, I think a lot of the imagery is established within the world to show that it's coming from that world. Now, for working off of the theory that this is all in one girl's mind, then yeah, it would have had to come from somewhere in the external world. And yeah, that is the pop culture. So I think the answer to the question is, I think yes is probably a good answer to that question. Although I don't really know about the word interested in. I think it's more that that's what the men are interested in, and that's how she can turn it against them.
Good point.
That's a great question.
Thank you, sir. What's the drama? Been here. Yeah, like I said, that was just the drama. It's all overblown stuff. And I'm like, I didn't even want to touch it. I didn't really even want to touch it. I was like, here we go. Because, I'm busy throughout the week trying to just do 2 jobs and then the video shit. And then all of a sudden this happens. And naturally my DMs and my mentions blow up. And I'm like, okay, now I got to approach this. And when it comes to drama, I mean, it's just they're pushing really hard back onto like the Snyder fans who are like pushing hard at them. It's a weird thing because I've never seen somebody who has like a pretty big following push back on people who have like 2 followers. Like it's just all dumb and nonsense and stuff like that. But
back in the day when they said I was at Comic-Con and I was with you at D23 when I at the time had like 300 followers. And now I still only have 500 followers. Like my friend, my co-host on my show has more followers than I do. He has over 1,000 followers and he did none of those things. Yeah. So if I really wanted clout, I would do whatever he did, or I would do whatever the people who have all those followers have. It's just, it's people just looking to feel validated, and they tear other people down to feel validated.
That's very true, but yeah, it's just there's really not. I mean, there's always drama in this. It's just that article really stirred up emotions because the article basically stated, "Hey, it's not coming out, guys," and then of course, but he's pulled back on it. Of course, Andy has, where he listened to what Garza said with all the information about AT&T and Warner Media and everything. And the negotiations and everything. So he did change his tone and and he actually did a video follow-up talking about all that, information. So that's a good thing. But here's I got coronavirus, guys. All right, we're good. Hey guys, as Justin may recall, I've written on how Zach's invoked Gordon. Oh yeah, that word in the Fountainhead plot point in reference to his DCEU arc. One wonders if he's pointing to the character Roger Enright. So that's something.
I don't think he's particularly pointing to Enright in particular. I think that's a very, very specific reference. I think it's more that, do you know what the reference of Cortland Holmes is?
No.
Cortland Holmes is at the end of Fountainhead. Spoilers for Fountainhead for anyone who cares.
Go for it.
at the end of Fountainhead, they ask Howard Rourke to design this project for basically public housing. So if someone came to him in California, were like, we need housing for the homeless, please build this. And he's like, well, I'm going to build it my way. And they're like, no, you're going to build it like we say. He said no. And then Peter Keating, who's essentially the Joss Whedon character, asked him to ghost design it. And he ghost designs it, and he says, but you got to keep it the way I want. And then what happens is Keating changes it, so Howard Rourke blows the whole thing up. And then there's a whole court case of should we punish him or not, because he basically, blew up public housing. So I think that's what Snyder's referring to when he says Cortland, is the idea of artistic integrity and everything. And I think that comes in post, right? Because he released that graphic with Cortland after the whole thing went down. So I think that's what he's referring to. Because I think I have a theory, and I think that his hard, dark idea is ultimately what got him fired. And I think that
it's not really
the guy who I asked yesterday to join us, and he said he didn't have time. He's the worst troll ever.
All right.
What did I say? I think that represents the hard, dark idea, because that was what he wasn't allowed to make. So I think that's why he's putting that in there, and that's at that point on the graphic and everything. So I don't think it's specifically the character of Roger Enright. I think it's more abstractly what Cortland stands for within the story of Fountainhead.
Yeah. I mean, it's him. God. I think we were talking about like how I would love for that also, I know he's going to be working on other things and he's still got Army of the Dead and stuff, but I've mentioned before that he wanted to make Fountainhead a series, but it is owned by Warner Brothers, which is kind of like the thing about it. Because, I mean, there's no way you could do Fountainhead in like a movie. It's got to be a series.
Well, that's the problem with the original movie. I mean, now we're going super nerdy, is a lot of the good stuff was cut out of it, and essentially it becomes a romance between Howard Rourke and Dominique Francone rather than actually like portraying the whole thing. So I actually am not a fan of the original movie. Yeah,
I've seen clips, and it's just, I mean, it's very old, first off, and you could tell, like, I mean, they're probably gonna get like the basic beats, but they're not gonna get like to the core of like what the story is about, like. There's no way you could do that in one full-length movie right now. That's why I think he took a picture and posted on Vero a while ago, and there was like some scripts I think that said like part 1, part 2, or something, chapter 1, chapter 2. I forgot exactly what it was. And when I was talking to my source, he goes, "Oh, by the way, those parts right there, they say 1 and 2, that's Fountainhead." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, it's Fountainhead," and he wants to make it a series. It's not going to be a movie. Don't those people who hate Garza know that he lost? Yeah, there's that stuff. I think he brought that up. On Andy's show. So I think, I don't know if like those people never like acknowledge that part, but yeah. So anyways, Chris D'Elia talked about Army of the. Yeah, I saw the clip. Chris D'Elia talking about Army of the Dead on Rogan. Yeah, he mentioned it. It would be awesome if Rogan kind of like found out what happened and wanted Snyder to talk about it on his podcast. I'm a big fan of that whole idea of. But here's the rebuttal from Eric.
I don't buy it. I'm sorry, Eric. Like, I try to avoid this confrontation with you, but I don't buy into the idea that J.J. Abrams is going to restore his original vision. And I don't think that's what that's a reference to. Sorry, I don't have much more to say on that. Like, I think my argument stands for itself. I'm looking for the post. If anyone could send me the post, the 2 parts on Vero, I'd like to see that post that he was referring to. But does anyone have any other questions or comments or conversation they want to have about Sucker Punch? Because I was really, really excited to talk about Sucker Punch because...
I know, so stupid.
Because
Yeah, somebody.
talk about the DCEU and that Snyder movies.
Yeah, I know. That's why I kind of like. It was kind of weird, when I did my Man of Steel watch. It was like I had a lot of people, and then when it came into Dawn of the Dead, it seemed a little bit quieter, of course. But of course, it's like, hey, he has more than just those movies. It's not always just cape shit.
Well, and to be honest, like I like Man of Steel better than BVS.
Yeah.
But the more I think about Sucker Punch and the more I watch it, like even this time, it's like seeing the repeated imagery of the trauma that was suffered over and over again. It's hard for me not to say Sucker Punch is my favorite Zack Snyder movie.
Nice. That's good. Wait a minute. What happened?
I just got a text. I don't know if I should say who it's from.
You don't have to, yeah.
But he said to tell Eric that JJ needs to protect his own career now. I don't know what that means, but the guy I got it from, I trust what he's saying. So,
yeah. Oh, is it somebody that I know too? Or
yeah.
No? Okay. Yeah. Okay, I was about to say. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of. We all want to think that JJ is going to come in and be like this hero when it comes to.
What?
Yeah.
I've never thought that in my life.
That's the thing. A lot of people want to like believe that's the case, and of course, he's a big nerd, and has his toe dipped in a lot of franchises. But at the same time, it's like, who knows? Who knows? There's the fact that right after he was done with Star Wars and Disney, he just was like, I'm going to sign up with Warner Brothers, and now I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to do my shit. And he's already, apparently he's already making moves when it comes to. A lot of people, of course, were like, well, maybe him and JJ or Zack Snyder and JJ. Remember that one time at Comic-Con, they went back and forth. They're buddies, they're friends. I'm like, yeah, they might have respect for each other, but it's still a business, and I don't know how much he's going to back up when it comes to the way things are right now when it comes to DC properties and everything. I don't know. It's just. I'm not sitting there going, oh, JJ's he's gonna bring it all back. He's gonna bring it all back.
Somebody put up that Sucker Punch is their favorite movie. I don't know if you just went through. Yeah.
There you go.
See that?
Review.
Yeah, I'm not look. I like J.J. Abrams. I think he's got a good concept, storytelling wise. Like the mystery box is a good concept. It often makes it so the denouement. The resolution isn't that great. We saw that with Lost, right? Amazing mystery box, but then ultimately when you opened it and revealed it, it wasn't that interesting. And Abrams has had those type of problems. But then he's also had tremendous movies. Like Super 8 is a tremendous movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. So it's a good movie. But I don't think he's some masterful person. Like, do you think Sucker Punch is an allegory? We argued for women's right. Well, right. I would agree with that. I don't know if it's an allegory, but I do think it's a metaphor. Allegory implies it's representing some real life situation that actually happened. There's no real life situation. You could argue it's an allegory for a trauma survivor, a sexual trauma survivor. You could argue that. But I do think that, this is what I love about Zack Snyder as a filmmaker. And this is why people like to, people in here have made fun of me before and said, do you only watch Zack Snyder? No, the reason I love him is he has a foundation of individualism and individual rights in all his movies. And you're exactly correct. Just like 300 is men fighting for individual rights against tyranny and for any reason. This is the same thing for women. That's why it says, you have all the weapons you need, now fight at the end of the movie. That's the point.
It is kind of a running theme in his movies, even with Man of Steel and BVS, yeah.
Man of Steel is all about individualism versus collectivism.
Same thing with Dawn of the Dead. You brought that up before, how it's like the collective is the zombies, and then the individualism is the people that are trying to survive.
Very much Kryptonian culture is socially engineered. You are born into you're not even born naturally. You're genetically engineered. You get the job they give you, and then human life is very much individualism. Yeah. He says, I believe every person can be a force for good.
Yeah.
Somebody else had a question.
Somebody else had a question?
Of Sucker Punch. So do you think any scene is actually real, or do you think it's all one of the characters' mind? Yes. I think it's all in somebody's mind. I think all of it from the beginning is in, we could say Sweet Pea, but it's a woman who, her mind encapsulates all of the different characters. Sweet Pea, Blondie, Amber, Rocket, and Baby Doll are all avatars of that one girl, different parts of her personality. And she's trying to cope with the trauma she has suffered. And the trauma is she was violated sexually, which we see as the metaphor of the lobotomy. Because what you're doing, and this goes to the point about freedom in 300 everyone was asking about, or that one person was asking about, what you're doing when you're taking sex and you're making it a purely physical thing, you're making it a drug, is you're taking the mind out of it. You're literally lobotomizing the woman because you're saying it doesn't matter what your mind is. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you feel. You might as well just be a body. Yeah. But as we see at the end of the movie, and this is what I was going to build towards, when she wants to be lobotomized, the high roller doesn't know how to deal with it. The lobotomist, he goes, it's almost like she wanted it. And he's not used to a woman wanting sex because he doesn't care. And then also after she's been lobotomized, Oscar Isaac character, Blue, is like, where are you? Come back. You're not here anymore. Because it's not interesting for him to conquer her if she is mindless. So even though he's treating her as he's mindless when he conquers her, it's the idea that he's conquered her mind and made her take her mind out of it and stolen her body from her that makes it appealing. It's not the pure sex part of it.
Yeah, makes sense. Have you watched this movie yet? The Owl movie? I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Is it pretty good?
I think it's the worst Snyder movie.
That's pretty much the collective. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I mean, it looks visually cool, but I just haven't taken the time to watch it yet.
So bro asked when the live watch is next weekend.
We'll do it next week. I'm gonna start a Twitch, and we're gonna do it on Twitch because this YouTube shit. I swear, I don't know what the hell is going on with it. I mean, we've been pretty good now. No one's like, it hasn't been dropped now, even though we're talking about that movie. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like, I wish it would say specifically. It would give me specifically the reason why it pulled the live stream twice. It's not copyright, it seems, because like I said, it's divided up in copyright and community guidelines. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm going to start a Twitch. I've been wanting to start a Twitch, and I think now is the perfect time. And we probably should have did it tonight, but whatever. Which of the 3 action set pieces in Sucker Punch are your favorites? I mean, that first one, the first fantasy, is pretty good, but I think the train is probably my favorite. That one shot when they're going through, it's a beautiful shot in my eyes.
I kind of, it's tough. The dragon one's really good, but I think I like the
war with the zombies and the zombie people. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I really like the warfare one where they have the steam powered zombie Nazis in there. That's really well done. That might be my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just because I'm a sucker for one shots, and when he has that one on the train, it's beautifully executed, of course.
Well, and that one also progresses the narrative the most. The other ones are all about them fighting to distract people to steal things.
Yeah.
But there's so much that's going on narratively in the train sequence that is phenomenal. Something about all those action pieces that you guys should look for on YouTube is there are videos where they actually created those worlds. What they did is they have a backstory for all of those. And if you go watch on YouTube, I don't remember all of them because I watched them so long ago, but all the videos on YouTube tell you the backstories of all those different worlds. Like, the reason that train is happening is because, like, there was a city of, like, all AI or something, or the AI is rebelling against the rich people inside the city or something. So it's all different, not only
there's more to it,
tropes, but it's also the thematic tropes.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So there's like more to like each one of those scenes.
Well, right, Terry, that's exactly right. That's the sucker punch of the movie is there's 2 really, but that's the main sucker punch is they want you to think it's Baby Doll the whole movie, but then you get to that it's Sweet Pea. But that's what I'm telling you is he foreshadows that early on when you see her dressed like Sweet Pea on the stage saying she's going to act out the performance and relive it.
That's one of the things I didn't notice at first. Like, watching it, just like when we watch it right now, I didn't even like think about it when she's about to be lobotomized, and all of a sudden it's just like it pulls back it's Sweet Pea, and they're like on stage. And yeah, I was like, wow, well, there you go, right there. I didn't even realize that at like the other times I watched it.
Right, and you have Sweet Pea's relationship with her sister Rocket, which is a stand-in for what's going on in the beginning. It's all, like I said, it's all about some woman suffered trauma where, you know, she was violated, probably that's hinted at, and then her sister may or may not have been violated, but her sister accidentally died and she accidentally killed her, or she died somehow because she couldn't protect her. And Baby Doll is the figure that she wishes she could have been to protect her sister.
Yeah.
You see that in these people who survive these trauma situations. They create the protectors. In Split, that was one of the major things that was played on. The Beast in Split is the protector character. Because Kevin Michael Crumb, I believe his name was. Kevin Crumb. The main person, developed those other characters and developed the avatar of the Beast to protect himself from the abuse he went through. So that is a proven psychological thing, that these people who went through this abuse develop these protector characters, these guardians. Kevin Wendell Crumb, thank you. I knew it was Michael.
Something like that. Yeah, there was a middle name in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to. That's someone, you know, people ask me who else you have. I love M. Night. And you know, I want to one day do M. Night watches as well. I'd love to do M. Night for that.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Yeah, we can go through the whole library. Fuck
Glass. Yeah. I absolutely love Glass.
Good. I'm glad somebody else liked it. I liked it. I mean, my God.
It's so okay, people. Okay, people. Look at what is going on in the world today. We have a bunch of people telling us this is how we're supposed to live. There's telling us there's no hope, that we can't live how we want. We have to stay locked inside. And what is going on in Glass? There are a bunch of people who believe that they are special and awesome, and this elite group comes in and kills them and tells them that they can't be special and tries to tell the rest of the world special people don't exist. You don't see a parallel to what's going on nowadays?
That's the bad part. It's like and this must be like really difficult for filmmakers, is to try to have a layered story, but to also have like that entertainment value, because some people just want to be entertained and want to go to that popcorn shit. I think we even talked about it last night, how we can blame Marvel for all the popcorn movies and Disney and everything, but it's like at the same time I can enjoy those movies. I can enjoy I can watch a Michael Bay movie and not think too deeply. Obviously, when it comes to style over substance, I mean, Snyder gets that a lot, and I think we've griped about that too. And it's like, he's not.
I can stand Michael Bay because he still has good versus evil. What I can't stand is these movies that everyone loves, where it's the same movie every time, where there's a terrible person and then he dies. Uncut Gems. Yeah, Adam Sandler is a great actor in that movie, but I don't care. It's a movie about a terrible person being terrible and then he dies. How is that?
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
Well, they're spoiling in there.
I get it. I was just kidding. I liked Uncut Gems only because the pacing and the way that it was shot, like I felt uneasy the whole time. I felt like I was going to get anxiety with a lot of the things, but I get what you're saying.
So somebody just said Glass makes Unbreakable not as good. Just have to block Glass out. They're talking about the ending and David Dunn's death. The thing about Glass versus Unbreakable is the Glass makes Mr. Glass a hero.
Yeah,
that movie is he goes from a villain to a hero.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be a tragic ending, because the whole time you think Glass is crazy, but you realize he was right. And then you see
brilliant, yeah.
David Dunn, like I cried when David Dunn died.
Dude, I got choked up myself. Yeah, when he was struggling in the water. Yeah, when I was doing I got a big lump in my throat, and then his son, of course, too. It was I need to watch that movie again. Maybe I'll watch it after this, Jace. The fact that I don't know if people were like hoping for like this big like crazy final act with like this crazy showdown,
but he's aware of that and he sets that up.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Is like I knew it wasn't going to go any further than where they were. Like I'm like, if people think that they're going to have this big showdown where it was supposed to be, I'm like, no, fucking Glass is fucking with you, fucking with the audience, essentially saying there's going to be like this big showdown, and it ended up just being at the facility outside of it with and that's what I like too, is like you had all three people. You had the girl from Split, you had David Dunn's daughter, and then not daughter, David Dunn's son, and then you had who was for Glass, the mother, you know, and they were all witnessing, and they were all, I mean, even when the girl from Split is going up to Kevin or whatever the hell his name is, she felt sympathy for him, even though like he put her through all that shit in the last movie, and I thought that was a pretty good like ending to that story.
Well, that one's brilliant too, and I mean that's the thing about that arc is you actually at the end of the movie there's a redemption for the Beast, because you understand that just as David Dunn and Mr. Glass have been told their whole lives that they're crazy and they're not good enough, he suffered the same thing, and that's why the end of Split is so great, because Split, you wonder what's his motivation, why is he trying to kill these girls, and why doesn't he kill? I can't remember her name. Why doesn't he kill her at the end? It's the perfect metaphor for the social justice movement. He doesn't kill her because he's broken. Because she's broken. And he wants to kill anyone who's pure and perfect and good. And ultimately, you see that his protector avatar, the Beast, was inspired by all the animals living in the zoo.
Yeah.
It shows how that mentality is really anti-human. And that's what makes it such a great horror movie, because that's what Split's meant to be, is a psychological horror movie. And when you get to the end there and you realize his motivations, you're like, wow, that's very well done.
Very well done. And then, yeah, I remember even talking about it last night on the stream. The fact that it connected to Unbreakable. I remember I think I called it something else last night. I think I call it Unbroken or something like that. Yeah, I was already pretty much done with the vodka and my brain farted. But I still remember when I watched Split, and when they showed the ending and Bruce Willis showed up, I freaked out. Like my girlfriend at the time, we were at the Harkins, sitting back, in the reclined seats. I shot up and went, "Oh my God!" I yelled it out. People were looking at me. I was freaking out. She had no idea what I was talking about, or I don't think a lot of people even knew why I was getting so excited, but I was overly excited because that was a twist that you just did not see coming. And I was like, thank you, M. Night. You made my fucking year with that.
Yeah, I had the same reaction. I had a friend tell me to go see it because she's someone who understands where I'm coming from with M. Night, and she really appreciates him. And she's like, you have to see it in theaters, because I wouldn't have seen it in theaters otherwise.
Yeah.
And then I saw it, and I was like, oh, wow, this is a tremendous ending, with the whole everything I just explained to you about the horror aspect of it. And I was like, that's why she wanted me to see it in theaters. So I was satisfied at that point. And then I saw that scene.
Cherry on top.
The movie theater was looking at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, I was with you on that. What's your favorite M. Night movie?
This is controversial. It's going to freak out the chat. I love The Village.
I knew you were going to. I was like, is he going to say Lady in the Water or Village? You know what? I don't have a problem with Village. I didn't really like Lady in the Water. I'm like, I'd have to watch it again just to really break it down. But I mean, I kind of understand what he was trying to go for there. But Village, yeah, I don't have Village hate. I actually like The Village. My favorite movie is Signs of his. That's my ultimate. I mean, that movie just hits all the right beats for me, because I'm a sucker for alien invasion movies. And then just to do it in that sort of way, just this contained story with his family on a farm and all the beats that it goes through, and the fact that, Signs is not just about the signs of a pending alien invasion, but signs for everything else, and the way that whole story just plays out, and the way that the final act is, and how he utilizes fear as well as heartwarming scenes between the characters. Man, I can't watch that movie without getting choked up. At the end when his son's pretty much about to die, but he needed to have his lungs close up so then he didn't get poisoned. And then just that whole shot at the end. I mean, even just talking about it now, you just get me choked up when he's just like, Dad, and then you see Mel Gibson's face where he's just like, oh God, he fucking lived. Just gets me every time. So beautifully done.
It's tremendous. They're all tremendous. Signs is tremendous. Village is tremendous. Lady in the Water is tremendous. Signs, like you said, the atmosphere, how they do alien invasion from just he does an alien invasion from just the family's point of view,
Yep.
and then you find out how it's all intricately designed to help that family survive if they just trust the signs.
Yeah.
That's the greatest argument in cinematic form for the Christian point of view of a benevolent God I've ever seen put on screen. Now, personally, I don't love it. It's not my favorite because I'm not religious.
Yeah.
But as far as a non-preachy religious movie, it hits all the marks.
Oh, dude, like right in the beginning, I mean, there's a shot when Mel Gibson wakes up. I mean, it's emphasized. You actually see on his wall where a cross used to be. There's an outline on the wall where he had a cross once. It's not there, but you still see the outline.
Yes.
That was such a visual representation
Yes.
of Mel Gibson's character right off the bat. And a lot of people don't see that, but it's like, yeah, this is a man who totally has lost his faith. And then obviously we go through the steps of why he lost his faith. But I mean, right in that opening, just a shot of the room where you see where the cross used to be and not there anymore. It's just, that was like just a nice little Easter egg nugget right there that just, just stuff like that.
He's very underrated as a visualist in that way that people don't see that.
Well, like even with signs, I mean, every time there's like a ghost or something like showing up, you see red. The red representation, symbolism, I guess you could say. The red symbolism of signs is also something too, because usually when Haley Joel Osment's character is sensing a presence there, you're going to see like a color red, whether it be a balloon or the walls of the room or something like that, or a light. I mean, it's just stuff like that. And that's, that's why when M. Night gets so much hate for certain things, I'm like, why? Stop.
I mean, I have my theories. I don't want to go into it now, but
that's fine.
You figure out my theories. I want to talk about his movies, though, because people are asking a lot of questions about the stuff in the chat, and I think there's a lot to talk about.
What about The Happening?
Somebody asked about The Happening. I asked this question to some of my friends the other day, and I said, with everything that's going on now, do we look at The Happening a little more benevolently?
Yeah, I know it can be. I mean, I think some of the shortcomings of The Happening is maybe some of the acting, for sure. And I mean, it has a strong first act. I have to watch it again. I don't know where it kind of falls apart for me. I think some of the acting, Mark Wahlberg's acting kind of gets a little weird. I think there's attempts at humor in there that don't land. Like when he talks to the fucking, plant in that office, that was a weird scene. But I don't know. I think it was just one of those things where it was a good idea. I mean, when you watch the trailers, I mean, it looked like, what the fuck? This looks like a batshit crazy movie. Like people are just killing themselves. Like why? But I don't know if it just didn't play out as well. I don't know. I really don't know. I'd have to watch it again.
I think that The Happening is meant to be satire, and he didn't push it enough in that direction, and that's why it falls apart. Yeah. Because you can't tell if it's trying to be serious or satirical or not.
That could be it.
I think that he was trying to, and that's why I'm saying look at today's world and what's going on very literally. I think he was trying to show that people's panic over the world and its threat to us and our threat to it is insane. I think he was trying to compare the modern environmental movement to the nuclear freakouts in those kind of movies back in the day where everyone thought nuclear power was going to be what ended us all, and they had all the B movies about that. I mean, he has the shots of the nuclear power plants in the beginning because of that, but I don't think he executed it 100% what he was intending to. But all these people running around panicking because they can't see what's trying to kill them, and everyone's going nuts, and they're all keeping away from each other and everything, because if you're in large groups, it's more threatening.
Wow, man, maybe I'll watch that instead. That's just like, yeah, it's like a representation of what's happening. I mean, it is so weird out there now, man. I mean, I went to Rite Aid because I had to get, some beers and then pick up some other things too. And then I went to Taco Bell, like I said, because for some reason I was craving Taco Bell. And it's just so weird to just go into a store now and you have to be wearing a mask. I actually was like, when I walked into Rite Aid, this girl that was waiting in line didn't have a mask, and I was like, kudos to you, you know.
I carry a mask because if they make me put one on, I'll put it on. But if I don't have to put it on, I won't put it on.
Yeah, I mean, I just do it because I don't want to, I don't want people to be like, and I just want to like get in, get out. I mean, as soon as I walk out, I take the damn thing off.
So throw Carrie's question up there because that's one of my favorite things to talk about in regards to The Village.
Okay, the twist that the fact that, I mean, it's a good goddamn twist. And you know what's funny? I remember watching it and going, oh my God, it like hit me before it was revealed. I went, oh, this is present day. So go ahead.
That's what you think the twist is, huh?
What?
That's what you think the twist is, huh?
Well, yeah, that's why I was like, you go ahead.
I don't think that's
more to it.
I don't think that's the twist.
That's not the twist?
I think the twist of The Village is that the elders are the monsters.
Oh yeah, that's a good twist too. No, I like that. But I'm talking about the
fact
twist.
that it's in the past is part of their master plan, or it's in the present is part of their master plan. But I think the whole twist is you're supposed to believe the monsters are real, and then you find out at the end of the movie, oh my God, the elders who you thought were the good guys the whole time are the bad guys.
Yeah.
And that's why I love that movie, because that movie is a metaphor for America. If you look at those people, they moved away from the towns, as they called it, and they went to the villages, and they put up a wall, and they shut everyone out.
Yeah.
And why did they move away from the villages? Because money corrupted them. Sex corrupted them. So they had to move away and become, as I was saying at the beginning of this thing, more puritanical. And the way they did that is they kept the kids as lesser educated. And they didn't tell them about the world and everything that's going on in the world, to the point that one of them got so sick, he didn't have what he needed to survive, right? Because Joaquin got stabbed, right?
Yeah.
And then it's actually so perverse that who starts dressing up like the monster? The kid who's retarded, and I say that seriously because he was brain damaged from the lack of oxygen when giving birth, because again, they didn't have
we just got cut off again. I'm just kidding. You said the R word. You said the other R word.
Yeah, he's brain damaged.
Yeah.
To the point that he literally becomes the monster. Mm-hmm. So not only have they damaged that kid by making him brain damaged, but they've literally turned him into a monster. And then what do they realize at the end of the movie? They realize, well, this place has hope. And that means it's worth living for. Well, that's what they forgot when they left America and found their little town. So it's a commentary on all of these people. Oh, and not to mention the fact that they were all professors, university professors.
Yeah.
Got all these elitists who tell us America's broken and they want to go found their own thing and start over. And then they do that and they realize, well, hope. These kids can be what they want. Well, that's what America's founded on. Yeah. That's why I love The Village, because of what the twist actually is.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you. I think I'm just talking about, when it comes to the initial twist of, oh, this is actually present day, when it was supposed to be, oh, this is supposed to be happening back in the 1800s or whatever. I love the fact too that I love it when like M. Night, injects himself into the movie. I always like, I can't wait. Like, who's gonna play in this movie? It's always cool to see him when he puts himself in the movie. In Unbreakable, he was like the guy that was like holding a gun at the sporting event, and in The Village, he was like, I don't know what the park ranger or whatever the hell lead guy. They saw him. He's like reading the newspaper. I always like it when he does that. I mean, in Signs, he was the guy that accidentally killed Mel Gibson's wife, and the way that whole thing plays out. Everything. Yeah. I mean, have you watched his Apple series, the series that he had on Apple TV?
I haven't seen it yet because I don't have Apple TV and I don't want to pay for it.
I don't either.
His character in Glass was the same character from Unbreakable.
That's right. It was. That's right. You're right. That's right. Yeah. So that's why I got to watch it again, because I've only watched it once, and I don't know why, because I actually enjoyed the movie. Or did I watch it twice? Probably. I don't know.
So The Visit, somebody asked about. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's fine. It's not my favorite.
The Visit. Yeah. I liked it. It was fine. I mean, yeah. What are your thoughts on The Visit? I forgot about that movie.
It was a good movie about the importance of family and staying in touch with them and keeping things close, because at the end of the movie, she realizes her estranged relationship with her mother is what put her kids in danger.
Yep.
So,
I mean, it was like I kind of like I liked how, you know, it was a mix between first person, like handheld camera, and as well as it was blended both back and forth with normal style, and that I'm glad it wasn't like full on just a first person view. I thought he got pretty creative with some of the stuff that he did with there.
Well, the crazy thing about that movie that most people don't know is after he really bombed with Avatar, he really bombed with After Earth. Well, I've only seen Avatar. I haven't seen After Earth. After he bombed with both of those, he had no money. He actually had to take out a loan against his house, and he used that money to make
The Visit.
And then he made so much money off of that he made Split, and he made so much money off of that he made Glass. So he is completely a self-made man at this point. That's why he's able to make the movies he's making that are saying the things that they're saying.
That's true. God, what was I going to say? The Visit.
I'm asking our favorite song in Sucker Punch.
What's your? I don't know.
Sweet Dreams is my ringtone. So.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like the opening of Sweet with that version of Sweet Dreams.
Yeah.
I mean that Sweet Dreams is better than the Marilyn Manson version. That's for sure.
I mean, one thing people talk about the Watchmen opening. I don't know. I think I like the Sucker Punch opening better than the Watchmen opening.
Ooh, I don't know. I think I like the Watchmen one a little bit more because I like the fact that they revealed that the way that it's slow motion is because the actors are literally like moving in slow motion. It's not like they didn't slow down the frame. Isn't that what was revealed or something like that? That whole sequence was the actors were literally just like moving in slow motion. It wasn't like actually the camera or the frame. They didn't just like slow it down in post. I don't know. I think that's creative. And I remember when there was like that whole rumor that they might have an opening like that for Justice League. I was like, can you imagine that? I mean, it'd be kind of weird. It wouldn't even make sense if they had that opening for Justice League because obviously the team has to be put together first. But I mean, just imagine if they did shoot something like that I mean, you're not a big comic book nerd, but for somebody like me and some of the people in here, that would have been, whew.
Yeah, I think honestly they probably were going to do something like that. I think that's why with what he went for that song and everything.
Yeah.
So I think they were going to do something like that. I mean, I agree. I'm not saying I don't like the Watchmen opening. I love it. It's like picking between Vanessa Hudgens and Jamie Chung. Like you end up with Jamie Chung, you're not complaining, and it's still AA plus. Like
yeah, seriously, jeez.
Somebody asked about HBO Max giving us the Snyder Punch, as I like to call it. Eric asked that.
Yeah.
It's a money issue. It's all shot. They showed it too. I mean, in test screenings, they showed the ending of them all. The original ending is they all come back to life and they do a dance scene to show that none of them are dead, which drives home the point that
they're not real.
They're not real. They're all fake. The reason they're all alive is because the girl's alive. So none of them really died. And he said that the test audiences didn't know how to take it. So I would just imagine that it's how much money they want to pay for the special effects or not, how much they think it's worth it. Hopefully one day we can get it. I would love to see it. I'm not sold though that it's necessarily better because I think in the original, the voiceover isn't there in the beginning and the end, which voiceover does explain a lot. I mean, without that clue of like your guardian angel, blah, 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 that really clues us into that baby doll is who she wishes she could be, you might lose a lot. And I get that they put that in there to explain it to people who didn't get it. But I'm really attached to the ending as it is. Like emotionally, I love, even though this movie's about women and it's supposed to be empowering for women, as we were talking about with individualism, I'm really attached to the ending where you have all the weapons you need, now fight. And then it ends and it hits that like hard chord. That's such a good ending. So I want to see the original full version and full vision of Snyder's.
Compare it.
I don't know if I'm going to like it more than I like that ending because that's just such an amazing ending.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up working out. I mean, hopefully, I mean, even though, it might not have been the original ending that he wanted, he probably was absolutely satisfied with what happened there. Rory Moore's question. Well, your question, you're answering a question with a question. I think he'd be good with the character of the question. I think that'd be good.
Language. Oh, he could do that. You know what? I didn't have an answer for that because I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But you know who created the question, right?
No, I don't actually.
Steve Ditko created it.
Oh, well, there you go.
Steve Ditko originally created a character called Mr. A.
Okay.
And Mr. A is based on the idea of Aristotle, A is A. Mr. A eventually became the question, who the question eventually became, do you know who the question eventually became?
No.
Rorschach. Rorschach's based on the question.
Well, shit, now that makes fucking sense.
Because originally, Alan Moore wanted to use DC characters.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let him, so he had to create his own versions of them. That's why Night Owl is very similar to Batman, all of these things. So the question is actually an objectivist superhero created by Steve Ditko, and I would love to see, now that you say that, M. Night handle that.
I think, yeah, I know. Like, I remember just thinking, I'm like, what could he do? And then just knowing the little bit of knowledge that I have of that character, I'm like, yeah, that would probably be a good fit for him. Not like anything, no big cape shit. No, he doesn't need to be doing the cape shit. He needs to be doing something more along the lines of that. I got a question probably before we wrap up here because we've been doing an hour. Have you seen the movie Multiplicity with Michael Keaton?
No, I haven't seen that one.
I want you to watch that movie, okay? And I want to get your idea of it because this is a movie about a man who has lost control of his life. He's a family man who runs a business.
Doesn't he create clones to do all the work for him?
Yes. Okay. He does create clones, and it's very much a rom-com style. But to me, there's deeper levels into it. So I won't say too much about it, but because he ends up creating 3 more versions of himself. Okay. See, some people know what I'm talking about, but I like, as much as it's like supposed to be like this rom-com 90s style, like, hey, it's funny, it's got its great funny moments, but of course, my brain, I look at it differently, and I kind of want to get your take on it. So if you can come across it, and mark it down.
What was the other one Krypton mentioned in here? It was like A State of Affairs on Netflix or whatever.
I don't remember.
Like, Krypton wants me to watch Upgrade too, so
you should. Upgrade's good. I like it. You probably you could rip that one apart and really see the layers on that one as well. And it's just very well done for being like a very subtle sci-fi movie. See, I mean, people are quoting it right now. You probably have no idea, but I know exactly what he's talking about.
I've heard a copy of a copy before.
Yeah, basically the reason why there ends up being 3 clones is because one of the clones himself, which doesn't end up turning out as well. You make a copy of a copy.
Degradation issue, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's the fact that when he clones himself twice, you really get a sense of like, wait a minute, there's more to this movie than just being like a goofy like movie about a family man cloning himself. And just the way the story plays out, I mean, it's I don't know, it's just one of those movies where I loved it growing up, and then when I got older, I really was like, wait a minute, there's like more levels to this story than they're actually like going for here. Just a little bit. It's not like being something too deep like Sucker Punch, obviously. It's not like that. But it's just, there's just something about it that will always, anytime if it's on, which it usually doesn't make the rounds, but it's well acted. I mean, Michael Keaton is fucking awesome in that movie. I mean, he really just shows how much of a good comic actor that man is, as well as just being a good actor. But he's hilarious, and it just you should watch it. I think it was it was a Harold Ramis movie.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll definitely watch it with your recommendation. I mean, it always looked interesting, so that gives me motivation to watch it.
Well,
Eric mentioned The Edge by David Mamet, or I always say Mamet, but I guess it's Mamet. That's a good movie. I've seen that. That was.
I saw it like a long time ago. I need to watch it again because that gets brought. I've heard that gotten brought up like in podcasts and stuff like that, where people talk about how good that movie is. We're talking The Edge is which one? Wait,
That's
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins and the
Alec Baldwin. Yeah, Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. Yeah, I need to. Yeah, I definitely need to do that. The Question is one of the absolute best characters in comics. See, there you go. So hand that off to Mr. Shyamalan.
I'm looking for a movie that that Mamet wrote, because it was literally one of the craziest movies. Oh, Edmund. If you've ever seen the movie Edmund, starring William H. Macy. This movie was on one night, and I watched it. I don't think he directed it. I think he just wrote it.
Batshit crazy?
It's one of the craziest movies. The only other movies I've seen that's crazier is the movie Bobcat Goldthwait wrote. Which tells you how crazy it is.
Yeah.
But, this movie Edmund, man. If you ever just want to see a movie that's like an insane trip, like I'd have to watch it again, but it's one of the craziest movies I've ever seen. I've never seen 1 Hour Photo.
You should watch that one too. Very good movie. Very good movie.
My take on Logan.
Yeah.
He's asking. I mean, Logan's a great modern Western. When I watched the movie, I was like, it was really great the way they updated the Western movie, did it as a superhero movie, and it was just very well executed. And then I don't really have much else to say about it. It's just a really well done modern Western with superheroes. Like, I don't have anything negative to say about it.
What about American Psycho? Come on.
I'm not a big fan of the trope that rich people are all secretly evil and killing and manipulating us all. I do think there is a class in this country that is manipulating and controlling things, but I don't think it's about money. I think it's about power. So I don't like the whole...
Oh, yeah, it totally is about power. I mean, the power to... Yeah. What about Matchstick Men?
Never seen that one. I'm not...
put that on your list too, bud. That's a good fucking movie, man.
What is it asking me if I still watch the trailer? Okay. Put that up there because I have something
okay.
to say a lot. Guys, you got to move on with your lives. Yeah, the first trailer was phenomenal, okay? But to a certain extent, it's like you break up with a girl and then you go and you look at the pictures from the beginning of the relationship and you go, oh man, what could have been in that relationship? Yeah, that movie would have been awesome, and hopefully we see it one day and it's awesome. But there's so much other... Look at all the movies you just named that you want me to watch. How can I invest myself intellectually and emotionally in those movies if I'm still going back and focusing on that trailer all the time? I still think people are dealing with the grief, and they're not letting themselves get past it. Because it's the same discussions over and over again when I see these feeds and these... channels and everything.
Oh yeah, I get kind of annoyed when I see the same talking points talked about over and over again. Specifically, the Batman doesn't kill. That always gets... That debate keeps on.
Yeah.
It shows up like once a month on my feed, and I'm like, again? We're already talking about this again?
Right. To a certain extent, you will always have new people because it's a worldwide network, right? Yeah. So there'll always be new people on Twitter who are discovering that argument. But then why does every person who is engaged in that argument before have to then engage with that person and then engage with the people they've already engaged with about the argument?
Yeah, I know. It's over. It's like a nonstop vicious cycle of dogpiling, first off, which I'm tired of. And that's kind of what happened last week too. Is like everybody started dogpiling on that article, and the writer, of course, Andy, and I was like, stop it, just don't do that. But at the same time, he was pushing back big time with all of it. And I don't know, it just turned into a shit show where I was like, I don't even want to like be a part of this right now. But I have a feeling that I'm probably going to end up getting pulled into the whole thing. And if I end up going onto his show to talk about the Snyder Cut, I mean, I'm going to be perfectly civil. I'm going to be perfectly just like, hey, and even if he brings up like the video that I took down because I was not happy with it. I know some people thought, oh, you only did it because Garza went on there. I'm like, no, Garza has no say about what I do in my videos. He didn't tell me take it down. Some people, I saw that. People are like, yeah, he did it, but only because probably Garza told him to take it down. I'm like, no, Garza, first off, he wouldn't do that. And second of all, if he were to tell me to take down a video, I would not, unless I felt like I needed to take it down myself. But if I were to go on his show, which might end up being the case, who knows? I would just be civil and just talk about the certain talking points that we always talk about. Okay, like couple more. Memento and The Prestige.
Prestige is my favorite Nolan movie.
Okay, yeah. Prestige is sorely underrated. Does not get talked about enough. It is a masterpiece, but I also think Memento is a masterpiece too. Memento, like, to me, I don't know. I think it's just because it really inspired me to, like, right after I saw that movie first, when I saw it, I remember watching it again, and I got really inspired to write after that movie. I think it's just because the way that, I don't know, that way that it plays out, and it's so unconventional, way that tells that story, and the fact that, this is a man who has short-term, memory loss, and when you first watch it, obviously, we're right there with him. We don't know what happened before. In the way that it tells the story backwards, as well as it's telling another part of the story forwards, and then it meets. That's why I think that script is brilliant in my eyes. I think that's just the way that it was written is why I love that movie so much.
Oh, I agree that mechanically Memento is amazing, but if you look at the quality of the filmmaking,
yeah, it's his first movie, second movie technically, but that was like his first, like, kind of, bigger movie. His first movie, what was it called? The Follow or something like that.
Following is the first movie.
Following, there you go. Yeah, black and white, very low budget. And then
he shot that, the way he shot that was, because I did research on Nolan and Snyder, because I was like, how'd these guys get in the industry? He shot that, he would make money at work, and then on the weekend, pay people to shoot movie scenes. And then once he had enough, he edited it all together.
Yeah.
So it was all done on his own, independently.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then, of course, Memento was like his second movie. But I don't know. I just, like you said, the mechanics of how that story plays out really just made me go, man, that's just, I don't know, it inspired me to write. And I actually wrote a movie, and I still have that screenplay and I've actually converted it into a novel that eventually I'll probably, finish and get out there, where I wanted to take that style of storytelling. I mean, I kind of applied it to two different characters. One, you're getting the backwards storytelling, and then the other story, you're getting the forwards, and then it's going to meet up. And so I don't know. That's why that movie just holds a special place to me, I guess.
Nolan does that throughout his movies. I mean, Postmodern Edge. I mean, that's in the Prestige.
Oh yeah.
Inception plays with the different levels of reality. I mean, that's Man of Steel. People don't realize that. I bet people don't realize the similarities between Man of Steel and Sucker Punch, where the reason those are shown is those are flashbacks.
Yeah.
Those are what Clark remembers. That may not be exactly what happened, but that's how Clark remembers them, to show you how Clark's psychology developed. And that's that postmodern influence of the linear storytelling of Nolan. Yeah.
I know. And that's, I mean, like you said, you did research, like how do those two get into the biz? I mean, it's pretty awesome when you see that interview where Christopher Nolan talks about how Warner Brothers approached him like, hey, we want you to do, you did such a good job with Batman. Can you do the same thing to Superman? And he was like, no, but I know somebody who can, and, who's on that similar level, who's probably, I mean, obviously when it comes to Snyder, he's a lot more visual than Nolan, for sure. Like Nolan, I guess, is like, when you talk about him, he's a great storyteller. And when it comes to him, the way that it's almost hard to pinpoint, like, exactly, like Nolan, when it comes to the scope and the cinematic scope of, like, some of his movies, when you look at Dark Knight, even Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, that when you look at that whole trilogy, to try to ground all that in reality, I mean, that's a Batman that couldn't have a Superman within that world. And I think I've talked about it on here before, when you watch that Dark Knight trilogy, it's like you can't really have a Wonder Woman show up or a Superman show up in that world. It just wouldn't make sense. And I remember when BBS was about to come out, there was like theories out there that it was before Ben Affleck got even cast. Like, oh, they're gonna bring back Bale's Batman. This is totally in Nolan's universe and blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, there's no way that this could like exist in the same world. I don't know if you feel the same way. Could you see like Man of Steel existing in the Dark Knight universe?
I mean, I think they sort of hinted at that a little bit. I think it was supposed to sort of inherit it in a way.
Yeah.
But I think the storytelling ways are similar. I think Snyder is more of a romantic than Nolan is.
Yeah.
Nolan's more of a gritty realist, so I don't think they could.
Yeah. I mean, like if you look at Snyder's Batman to Nolan's Batman, it's like Nolan's Batman is totally grounded, as much as he can in reality. And when it comes to Snyder's Batman, it's like he still wanted to have those I guess amplified elements to Batman's character. I mean, when you watch that Batman warehouse scene and the fact that he just puts on like this armor and takes on Superman, I mean, obviously there's so many times where Batman just would have been dead, getting dragged through a building, thrown into the bat signal. I mean, it doesn't matter how many layers of fucking armor you have. You're dead. Your neck's broken, your back's broken. So it's like, I think that's what I appreciate about Snyder is like, because what he wanted to accomplish with Man of Steel is like, how would the world react to this being coming down? It's not just everybody's cheering, because that's not the world we live in. There's going to be that half that's going to be totally against it and totally fearing it. And then he wanted to really show that Batman was that kind of person. He was on that side of it. But of course he had to make it, comic booky as much as he didn't go too crazy. He didn't go like Marvel Cinematic Universe with a lot of things, but still he had to do something with that. And it worked out in my opinion. So,
yeah. So a couple comments to throw up. Mr. Everett's comment about the Prestige.
It's like way up here.
The Prestige is incredible, he said.
Right here.
Yeah, that's why I prefer the Prestige to Memento. I think when you look at the themes of both of those movies, I think that Nolan does a better job in the Prestige making it emotionally, experientially resonate with what it means to be human. Whereas I get what he's trying to go for Memento, right? Like the stories we tell ourselves about what is real or how
we lie to ourselves, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that that's hard to execute with a character whose memory doesn't exist, basically. And I think he does the best he can with that film, but I just think the Prestige, even if you look past all the technical aspects of it, I just think it blends the philosophical and the emotional better than Memento does.
And it's just the way that it all plays out. I mean, it's like you almost have like a twist and then a twist and then a twist. When you realize like, oh wow, Hugh Jackman's character really was technically like making himself appear somewhere else, but in order to keep that illusion going, he was literally killing himself. I mean, you could peel that onion as much as you can, and Bale's character actually had a double and had to go to extreme lengths to keep that under wraps, to the point where one of the characters like literally died in prison, got hung, just to keep it going. And it's just crazy how when that all unfolds and you almost think that Hugh Jackman's character is going to be the one that's victorious. And then it twists again and boom, it's Christian Bale's.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, even though Hugh Jackman's character is the protagonist of the movie, he's the villain. And that's what makes the movie resonate with what Mr. Everett said is the whole time you think he's the good guy and then you realize he's the bad guy and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, because he's literally like, I mean, he has this, this magical device that's literally cloning him and he's killing, whatever falls down into that box. I mean, he's a murderer essentially, and Bale's character, as much as he comes off as the antagonist and the dick of the whole thing. I mean, the fact of the matter is, he's still doing it the conventional way by having a double. He's having a double, and he's and they go as far as like, well, my my fingers got shot off. Now we got to cut your fingers off to keep the illusion going. And it's just those extremes. It's like, God damn.
Yeah. Throw up Hard Boiled Entertainment's comment about Atlas Shrugged. No, a little higher.
Okay. This one?
Yeah. So little story. I actually worked on Atlas Shrugged Part 2, and then I quit Part 3. But I worked on Atlas Shrugged Part 2, and then I was in the transition between Parts 2 and Part 3, but then they wanted me to drive like 70 miles a day to work on Part 3. And Part 3, the script was just terrible, and the movie's terrible if you've ever seen it. But the reason I'm saying this, because of what the comment is here, is I actually gave them a script treatment for Part 3. And in the script treatment, I pitched Part 3 being an action movie in the style of a Zack Snyder movie, because Part 3 is all about this rescuing of John Galt from he's captured and they're torturing him, and there's the whole Jesus figure part of it in there as well. And I pitched it in that way, and the producers read it and they were like, "So you want to turn this into a pulp action movie?" I was like, "Yeah, you get it. That's exactly what it should be. It should be a romantic action movie." And Ayn Rand even loved pulp movies, so I think Zack Snyder could really do part 3 of that. I think he would have to do 3 movies as well, or a series as well, like with The Fountainhead. But yeah, I actually pitched that before. I mean, that was before Zack was even huge at that point, right? I mean, that would have been right after Sucker Punch. So that would have been before or during Man of Steel. I don't remember when the production years for that were. But yeah, I'm on board with that. I already pitched that.
Interesting.
But the people who ran those movies had no idea what they were doing.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Will Robert Pattinson's Batman be a flop? Probably not.
In the future.
Well, I know we can't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you guys know I'm excited for it, and Matt Reeves. I mean, what he did with the Apes trilogy, I thought was very well done. So I think him taking on the Batman, and I still have to do my video about all the recent stuff that he talked about, how it's not an origin story, but it's going to be like pretty much early on. He's still establishing himself and just delving into more of those the psychological mind of Bruce Wayne and the shadow version of himself and him dealing with that. But at the same time, we don't need to see the full on origin. We need to see the Waynes getting killed yet again. I mean, obviously, when it comes to the Waynes getting killed again, I mean, I think Snyder actually did it the best. I mean, that opening scene in BVS to me is like the best that we've seen, that whole thing. Better than
you.
Huh?
Because you're the Batman guy, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Nolan and Snyder both already do the psychological trauma of Bruce Wayne? I mean, wasn't that the whole overarching arc of the Dark Knight trilogy? And once he's over his trauma, that's when he can go and be in France. And
yeah, I think
the trauma.
Yeah, but I think what Reeves really wants to put on display, like, yeah, he's going to tackle those points, but he wants to make it very noir and detective. And as much as we've seen those aspects with like the Nolan Batman and even with Snyder's Batman, I think he just wants to emphasize a little more. Like, I don't know if you've ever read Batman Long Halloween or even Year One. I think he really wants to capture that essence of the character being more noir than anything, because I mean, Batman is just like this character who's, I mean, you can watch Batman the Animated Series. I mean, he's almost like Spider-Man. He's like he's on a gargoyle and he just shoots out his grappling hook and then he just swings through the buildings, almost like, but I think he really wants to capture, like, when it comes to those books or Dark Victory, and he just, I don't know, I think he just wants to bring that to life, and it's really something we have not seen as much as we've seen, even in BBS, Bruce doing his detective work. But I think I don't know, there's just something that hasn't been, I guess, grabbed, and I think it's what Reeves really wants to get. When it comes to the whole psychological thing, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's been done. It was done in Nolan's Batman, and was done in BVS, obviously. But I mean, obviously that was a 20-year-old Batman who's now who's so weathered and is not thinking correctly. I'm kind of curious to see how he takes that and how he makes that his own. I don't know. we'll see what happens. But you're right, it has been done. But I think what he really wants to approach is that noir type movie. I don't know.
See, that's interesting as a general audience member for me.
Yeah.
Comics guy, that's interesting because it's a different take on it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go back in and see somebody again handle the trauma and everything again. To me, that's been done. Let's
yeah, I think no matter what you do a Batman movie, you're gonna have to like have that because that is what makes him Batman. But what?
Oh, just the question somebody asked.
This?
Am I going to read The Fountainhead?
You already read it. I mean, if I could find time, that book is like this thick, and you're gonna see it right now because I already know that Justin has it.
Am I going to read The Fountainhead?
Okay, now look how thick it is. Look at how thick that is. So yeah,
how thick is my thigh? Never mind.
Ding dong, ding dong. Yeah, it's girthy. Yeah, he's read it. I haven't read it. I would like to read it, but that is a lot to read. So, wait, he meant the film. Oh, you talking about the film? You've seen the film. I haven't seen the film, right?
Yeah, I won't ever watch that movie again.
Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, we were talking about that at the beginning, Nelson. Nothing. We weren't poking fun at you or anything, but yeah, we were talking about that towards the beginning of this live stream. To try to fit that into a film, very hard to do. And like Justin said, it very much turned into like almost like a romantic, comedy, or not comedy, but
if you want to talk about technology and the way things are different, the book starts with Howard Rourke getting expelled from school. So he's like a college age kid. Uh-huh. And then it ends with, him as a full-fledged adult, right? Committing, this act of violence. And it's interesting how in the beginning, because of the time constraints and because of the technological constraints, they didn't even show him because it's Gary Cooper as a full-fledged adult. They just showed his shadow in the beginning when he's supposed to be a young kid. So I'm a person who thinks modern movies are better than older movies for many reasons. Yeah. And to me, that was reflected in that movie.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of people. I always find it funny when, like, if you say that this kind of this movie is better than like a classic, like a Stanley Kubrick or something like that, and they gasp themselves. I'm like, hey, it's just, it's sometimes movies can be better now. That's just the way it is. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna put on. I probably would put on, if I had to choose between a space opus of a movie from a director, I'd probably put on Interstellar before 2001 Space Odyssey. Am I saying that 2001 is like a shit movie? No. 2001 is fantastic, but Interstellar is better. I'm sorry,
So I agree. Let's to wrap it up, let's go to Jose's question.
This?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is why this discussion just happened. We don't know exactly what happened. We tried twice. We tried twice to watch it. We got about 40 minutes in, maybe.
Yeah.
With the both the times, it kept getting brought down because of community guidelines. It wasn't a copyright. We're not sure exactly. I got the email. It didn't specify exactly what the reason why it violated the community guidelines. So we're going to do it next week. I'm going to start a Twitch account, and hopefully you guys can, go to there. I mean, obviously you don't even have to have an account just to watch that, just like you do here, but Twitch is a little more lenient. And then if it ends up working out pretty well, I'll probably just do all the live watches over there. I've been wanting to do a Twitch account, and I know they're doing a thing right now too, where they have specific movies where you can watch with people and actually have the movie displayed. And you won't get any copyright or anything like that. But so next week we'll do it. Probably same bat time, same bat channel. Well, not same bat channel, but Twitch channel. So anyways, we've been doing them for about an hour and a half. So we made something of it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with that. Next week I'll be here. I was excited. I thought we were really digging into it.
Yeah, it was good.
Reading it in a way that
one of the big things, like I was like, if we start this again, but we started at 25 minutes, we're gonna miss all that good commentary.
Right.
I actually was like, that kind of, that was kind of like, I actually kind of glad that the second time around didn't work out, because I want the video to be up where somebody could literally go, okay, I want to watch the full commentary at a later day, and then they could start it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I was, when you had messaged me and you had said, well, we lost the first part, I had already thought of that because, as I was saying, I felt like I was explaining it in a way that I hadn't quite ever put quite a point on it like that before. Yeah. And I was sad that that was all lost if somebody was going to pick up 25 minutes in. Exactly. So I'm willing to do it again, because I think that that analysis said in that way is not out there yet. Mm-hmm. And I think there's value to us putting it out there.
Yeah. So it was actually a good thing that it didn't work out the second time too, because there's a lot of information that you were putting out there that I thought was good, especially the opening and everything. And I think people, will dig all that. So look forward to that, guys. Go ahead and promote yourself, Justin.
Oh, yeah. You can find me on themidside.com, on the Midside on Twitter, on Instagram. I release new podcast episodes every Monday. On my podcast, Welcome to the Midside, we do not talk exclusively about movies. Our slogan is Witness the Farce, and we talk about all the ridiculous things going on in the world. Right now, we're spending a lot of time just talking about what life's like in quarantine. For instance, this week, we're going to talk about how my co-host's mother recently died, and he was still given a stimulus check directly put into her checking account, and there was no way for him to return it. So we're going to talk about what's the morality of that. Yeah. We're going to talk about the morality of Floridians going to the beach while Californians are having their skate parks sanded over. So we talked about a diversity of things. We also talked about Onward last week, so we talk about movies too. But check that out. Welcome to the Midside. Witness the farce with us.
That's right. You do you recommend the Pixar's Onward movie, right? Yeah.
Highly recommend that movie. It's a tremendous movie.
Wow. I mean, I don't doubt it, because as much as people hate on Disney, I mean, the Pixar movies, they could just be better. I mean, yeah, it's great animation, but they could just be great movies altogether. Remove the animation at all. It's great storytelling and stuff like that. Perfect timing.
Hey, I'm on the live stream right now, but he's gonna hang up the show.
All right, guys. Really cool. Perfect timing right there. I appreciate you guys clicking in. Of course, follow me on all the stuff. You know the drill. Subscribe, follow, shirts down below, and Patreon. All right, guys. Talk to you later.